Hey, Karine. The president last night argued very forcefully that democracy is under assault, but what kind of concrete actions does he actually plan to take, given that he described this essentially as a fairly existential threat to the American Republic?
So, as you also heard from the president yesterday, he believes we're at an inflection point, and so that's an important thing. Why he wanted to make sure he gave that speech. But you also heard the president express optimism, right, about the future of America, which was something that was important for him to deliver to the American people. That he believes there isn't nothing we can't do, right? He believes that we can do everything, anything, as a country, and we have seen throughout our history, America has made its greatest progress out of the darkest times. We see that before. One way, of course, we can do that is by making our voices heard, and he said that. He said that the American people have a choice, but it wasn't just a policy speech. Obviously, the president believes that we can make great progress out of the darkest moments, and he calls on all Americans, regardless of which side of the aisle you sit on, regardless which ideology that you may follow, regardless of the political persuasion, to unite around democracy. And he thought it was an important message, again, an inflection point, and that was the message that he delivered, again, giving people a choice and saying to folks, we need to come together and make sure our voices are heard.
So other than urging Americans to vote and make their voices heard, the president has no plan to confront this threat that he described very forcefully last night.
I mean, it's not the first time he's confronted or spoke about this threat. He's done it multiple times at multiple stages during the last 3 years, during his campaign, a couple times as well during his administration, and he'll continue to lift that up when he feels it's needed. But what the president did last night was incredibly powerful. It was clear, it was concise, it was steadfast, which is, and he did it a prime time, as you all know, to the American people, speaking directly to them that this is a time for us to come together.
Right, what I'm asking is if there's any action behind his words.
Well, the action is making your voices heard. That is a powerful action. We have seen it across time. We have seen it throughout our American history, that making your voices heard actually can change the direction of a country. So I would say that is the most powerful tool that we have as a country right now.
And I know you guys have addressed this to a certain extent, but because you're behind the podium, if you could address the criticisms and the questions about why the president delivered what sounded very much like a politically charged speech as an official White House event, taxpayer funded, with 2 Marines in uniform in particular flanking him and visible on camera throughout the speech.
So I'll take your first question. Look, the way we see it here, and I would argue the way many Americans across the country see it, is standing up for democracy is not political. Denouncing political violence is not political. Defending rights and freedom is not political. Making clear that the challenges facing the nation is not political. We don't call any of that political. We see that as leadership, and we see that as presidential. To your question about the Marines, look, the president gave an important speech last night, a critical speech, at an inflection point. And, our democracy, our values that our men and women who protect us every day and fight for it every day believe in as well. The presence of the Marines at the speech was intended to demonstrate the deep and abiding respect the president has for these service members, to these ideals and the unique role our independent military plays in defending our democracy, no matter which party is in power. Again, no matter which party is in power. And it is not abnormal, it is actually normal for presidents from either side of the aisle to give speeches in front of members of the military, and including President Ronald Reagan, President George H.W. Bush. It is not an unusual sight, or is not an unusual event to have happen. I'm gonna move around. You've asked 3 questions. No, you've asked 3 questions. I did. No, I answered the first question. You just, I had to just dive in a little bit more, but I certainly answered it because I said making your voices heard is a powerful tool. I answered it the first time you asked. I'm going to go around. Go ahead.